So this is the n queens class, and we are given a board. It's a 5 cross 5 matrix having zeros. Now let's go ahead with creating and calling a method to place n number of queens on this board. So let's call it save the queens, and the first argument to this method is the board itself, and the second argument is the column index from where we're gonna start. We are going to start from 0th index, so we are taking column index as 0, and we're taking column because we're gonna go column by column. Now let's get the length of this board and let's call it n, and we are already passing this n in the save the queens method. Now let's start the main implementation. Let's create this method, and here let's start implementing save the queens. Let's change I to call because it's a column index. And now first comes choices. We have to find out the row for every column where the queen can be placed. So at every column we have to make a choice between these rows. So we're gonna take a for loop that is going to start from 0 till the length. So row is less than n and row plus plus. So first, if we're going to place the queen at the current cell, we have to check is this placement safe or not. So comes the constraints. Let's check if is safe, and let's pass board, row, column and n to this method. If the placement is safe, let's place the queen here, board, row, column, and here we'll place one. Let's implement this isSafe method. So first we will check if there's any queen already present horizontally to the current queen. So let's take a for loop. Let's take two variables I and j, and this loop is going to start from 0 and will go till the current column, so less than column, and will increment the I. So in the left of this current placement we have any queen present horizontally that we can check by saying board row I equals to 1. If this is true, then return false. That means there is already a queen present horizontally to the current queen. Now we have to check diagonally. First we will check for the upper half. So we'll take I will start from the row, and the j will start from the column, and they will go until they are greater than 0, greater than equal to 0, j and j is greater than equal to 0. I should also be greater than equal to 0, and then we'll decrement the I. So we are going diagonally. So if the current placement is 1, 2, then the previous placement will be 0, 1. So it is going diagonally. So here we'll check if there's any queen placed diagonally in the upper half. So board I and j equals to 1, and then return false. And now we have to check in the lower half. So let's copy this for loop. This time we're gonna go diagonally downwards. So I will start from row and it will go up to n. So increment the I, everything else will be same. Oh, we are having a semicolon here. Let's put a comma here. And finally, if all these conditions fails, then we will return true. Now the next element is recursion. If we are placing the queen at the current cell, then we are going to check if we can place any queen in the next column at any row or not. So let's call save the queens and let's pass the board, and as we're going to check for the next column, let's pass column plus 1 and then the value of n. So if it returns true, then return true. return true. But if this does not work out, we have to revert our decision back to 0. So now comes the backtracking step. So backtrack and let's change the value from 1 to 0 again. So row column equals to 0. And after everything, return false. Now comes the base case. Base case is when we reach to our goal, that is when we have traversed all the columns. So the base case is if column is greater than or equal to n. When it becomes equal to n, then return true. So this is the implementation to save the queens method. Now the implementation of the logic is complete. Let's get back to the main method, and here if the save the queens returns true, then we are going to print the matrix. So if this is true, then print the matrix. First take the for loop for rows, which will go till n, and now the for loop for columns. So j equals to 0 till n j plus plus. And now let's print the element. Separate by space and board ij and space again. We'll be getting error. Let's change it to small j and remove this 0. And then after the for loop of column, we'll change the line. There's another error. Okay, let's insert this parenthesis, and now the else condition, else the save the queens is returning false, and there is no solution to this problem or to this for this board. Change it to print. Now let's run this. So the solution has placed all the queens at right positions where they are not attacking each other. And this is how we can solve this n queens problem using backtracking. This was all for this lecture. See you in the next lecture.